Everybody, Stan Sher here with another story of car sales confessions. So here's a good one. By the way, real quick before we get into it, if you like the content, please subscribe, like, share. Let's get the YouTube algorithm up. I want to build up my channel, but I also want you to be able to experience some great stories of the auto industry. After all, this is my number one focus. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. I do multiple different things, but automotive is in my blood. It's what I've been doing for 19 years. I love my career. I'm blessed for this career, and so just go out there, like, share, and I hope that I inspire you to improve, grow, thrive, survive, and all that jazz. Positive jazz, that is. So anyway, let's get into it. So I get hired at Courtesy Honda. I interview for a job there. I get the phone call. I come in. They hire me on the spot. They like my resume. They like the way I talk. I was at that point, I'm like, you know what? I only want to do internet sales. I don't want to be on the showroom. Okay, I don't want to sit there and wait for ups in a flooded showroom. I only want to do internet sales. Back then, we really weren't doing BDCs as much. It was more so you had the showroom floor versus the internet department. So I was like, yeah, I only want to do internet sales. I don't want to waste my time on the showroom floor. I want to be busy. I want to be making phone calls. I want to work by appointment, right? So sure enough, I got the job, and I was the 6th person to work at Courtesy Honda in our internet department. We had a really great guy, Jeff Bloomquist, who decided to leave for a little bit to do real estate or mortgage. Really, really nice guy. He did very well. He left. He came back like 4 months later, but he left to try something different. And I think now he's a finance director, from what I last heard. Still in Florida. Really great guy. And so, yeah, I ended up going to sell cars, and I did really well with it. First month, almost became salesman of the month. I started on the 5th of the month, and I did 25 cars. And I'll always say this, okay, my manager loved my hustle and my work ethic. That he spoon-fed me probably 6 deals. Realistically, I probably only sold 19 cars that month, which is not bad for your first month. But then with everything else, you know, repeats, referrals, you know, I was coming in on my days off. I was answering leads at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was so fired up. You know what happens is once you start getting successful, the more success you have, the more you want. The more money you make, the more money you want. You start adjusting your lifestyle. And, you know, for me, you know, working, I love to work. If I have an opportunity that I know I can do very well, and I just want more and more and more. And like the self-motivation kicks in, and you just start to climb up that ladder, right? And so for me, it was absolutely exciting to start selling cars. And so I ended up the month with 25, and got beat out by one person who was there for 10 years by 1 car. Otherwise, I would have been salesman of the month. And that was the first month I made $10,000 between spins and our pay plan. The pay plan wasn't very strong, but I come home and I'm like, hey, tell my parents, I'm like, hey, Dad, look, I made 10 grand this month. You know, at 20, almost 22 years old, my dad was blown away. Like my dad realized there's potential in me, and you know, my dad never made $10,000 a month before in his career. So he was like, all right, but don't forget about school. They wanted me to do school. So don't forget about school. Like, I'm not, you know, I'll go back at some point. And sure enough, I did, and that's a whole other story. But yeah, I mean, it's just exciting, you know. From that next month, I did 20 cars, and you know, I did really well. But then eventually, my ego got really big, and my numbers fell. When I tell you my numbers fell, like I had 3 great months, and then I took a vacation because I had to go to a family wedding in San Francisco, and my numbers fell, completely fell. Like I think in 2 months I sold like 8 cars, barely made $2,000, and then of course I, you know, checked myself, and I got back into the rhythm of things and went back to selling 17 to 20. And one of the negative things that happened was that my manager, we had hired a young lady to sell cars in our internet department. And what happened was my manager started having an affair with her. And he made her the rock star. And that was one of the reasons why my numbers fell and I got into a funk, is because that I was getting skated and snaked all the time. Just to give you a good example, a Honda Ridgeline, it's a truck, right? They would take the Honda Ridgeline out to lunch and use the flatbed. Use your imagination. They would use the flatbed, okay? We had this guy working with us, Trinity, Washington. He was an older gentleman. He would look at her and he would say, "Hey, did you just have donuts?" He goes, "Did you just have powdered donuts?" I mean, the sarcasm, I mean, we were breaking her chops. We did not like her. You know, she utilized, you know, certain assets to to get ahead, and it is what it is. But after about 2 months of the negative vibes, I just got myself back together and got competitive with her, and she didn't like that very much because it was her being spoon-fed and it was me actually working and putting up the same numbers almost, right? And then I always missed out on the good times. I missed out on the day when my manager's wife came in looking for him. You know, they were Hispanic, and she was going nuts looking for him. I heard there was like some serious drama in the store, and of course I missed out on the drama. I would have loved to see it. You know, my manager wasn't a bad guy, but he just decided to do some really, really stupid things, like have an affair with one of his employees. And I don't know why. I just don't understand. You know, he's not a bad guy though. Like I don't know. It is what it is. All I know is it was an interesting time, and I got to experience that. I overcame it. I survived, I thrived, and I skilled up, and I did very well. You know, so another one of my interesting stories from my background. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Thanks so much. Be well.